basically welcome to this journey. A journey where you can dive with me in man. This is an investigation of the rawness, of the depths, of what's really inside them, which in fact is inside each of us. This is a healing journey, a space of surrendering and expression, of vulnerability and liberation, where we focus on soul expression, human transformation, conscious masculinity, world travels and inner travels that lead to constant rebirths. And here we are cracking the ice and leaving behind the masks. This is a journey to the essence through inner revolution stories. I'm Joana Patrício, and I'm gonna be your guide in this fusion between shadow and light. A space where the authentic voices of men are heard. Dive in Man also aims to bring you new perspectives, new ways of seeing and perceiving the things around you. Perspectives I once rejected, but now they make way more sense for me to see the world through. They won't necessarily make sense for you as they once didn't do for me. It's just my vision, and our truths, our mental maps might be different, which is totally okay. So my suggestion is for you to don't take it as much as I agree with this or I disagree with this, but more like, oh, there's a new perspective, a new possibility which I've never considered. Let me expose myself to it as an observer. Observe also what arises in you from the words you will hear through this journey if you decide to follow along. And you might be wondering why men? And at some level, I feel their pain, them not allowing themselves to embody some of their parts and not really looking to their wounds in order to heal them, traumas, and that they have been repressing so much within them and reacting instead of acting, and therefore not allowing themselves to fully be. This is something that's deeply touched me, not only because of all the knowledge I have regarding this topic, but also because it was also one of my biggest pains while growing up, and is still one of my biggest pains as an observer of what's around me. And when I see men crying or even some tears, I cannot possibly explain you what it makes me feel, but somewhere deep inside me there is some notion of privilege for being able to witness such precious and still rare moments of vulnerability and releasing. So, a bit about me. I'm Joana. I am many things and I do many things, which honestly makes it a bit challenging for me to describe it myself. But above all, I could say I'm just a soul trying to understand and realize, relearn what is it like to be a human being and to have a human experience, while letting go of the limitations and fears I've put myself in, but that in fact are extra to me, They don't belong to me, but I've previously associated myself and who I am with them. As if I had created my own box in which I was in for a very long time, and then started to notice that not only I was inside of it, but also I was the one that created it in the first place. So it's my entire responsibility, whatever has happened to my life. And with this awareness, I've been step by step setting myself free from myself. I was living in my own shadow for a very long time. Yeah, it's interesting to observe things now from this macro perspective, from this point of non-attachment for whatever has happened, to observe all the progress and all that has been my journey, in fact. So I cutted myself my own wings and even the possibilities to see these wings. But now, after all these years that I went through this deep inner process, and that I can see my wings now, and I'm learning how to fly. I'm learning how to let go of the need to control myself and the things around me, and learning how to trust the wind, learning how to trust and surrender to the flow of life, which is beautiful, blossoming process, even though it's also very challenging, because I had a lot of challenges with expression through a big parts of my life. I repressed my own expression. I was repressing my identity and my essence, which in fact I had no clue about, that I had an essence or that I was someone. I really didn't know who I was, and I was lost. But meanwhile, through my travels and being in contact with so many different stimulus, cultures, people with different backgrounds and mindsets, ways to do and think, people that were taking life in a different way than I was used to see, and doing amazing things that I thought, wow, I can also do this. It's possible. I mean, my awareness of the possibilities that I had really has been rising, increasing substantially. As I was living abroad, in Greece, Cyprus, in Kyrgyzstan, I did a lot of voluntary work, training courses, internships in several countries. This was in fact how I started to truly get to know me. How Joana is, what she thinks, what she likes, what she doesn't like, how do I react to this certain situation, how do I adapt to this, how can I cope with this by myself. So I started to be able to hear my voice, to allow myself. Traveling and all the lessons I learned really made me understand that, in my perception, the real travel is the one within. And now, 12 years after I've had a big depression, in which I used to question myself a lot about the cycle of life, like how we are born, then we learn things, we use this knowledge to generate income, to get things, then we reproduce ourselves, and then we die. And I had really a lot of existentialism questions about myself, life, and the world we live in, and the purpose of life, and what are we doing here if this is so tough, if this is so challenging. But now, now 12 years after, I came to realize that I already have in my perception, in my conscious level, the answers of so many of those questions. And now it's much easier to play the game of life, because I feel it's like as if we were playing this game, at least in my map, the way I perceive things. It's as if we were all playing this game, but without knowing or acknowledging the rules of it, or even noticing it is a game. And when we start understanding that there are actually some rules, but not so much as rules, but more like guidelines, we can take advantage of them and use them for our own benefit, because using for our benefit ends up being the benefits of others, of the others that surround us. Something that life has been showing me is that the world around us is an expansion and a mirror reflection of the world within us. So basically, a creation or a co-creation of our conscious and subconscious materializing into reality. If, for instance, you close your eyes, what do you see? Black emptiness, as if it was all an illusion. So, amidst all this, I have been finding my way to watch and capture my own life's movie. This insightful adventure journey to life, in which it's important to leave the illusory security I have and take risks, because risks are what make me grow and evolve as a person. So basically, I'm doing my best to explore my potential and my inner resources in many areas, creating opportunities to take the most out of them. So I am an explorer, an investigator of the essence and magic that is around all of us and within us. And I'm here with my extra sensitivity and the life lessons I've been acquiring and implementing in my life to bring clarity, to be a light into the shadows. Some people call me fairy. But if I do am a fairy, then I'm also an explorer and investigator fairy. So this podcast is actually something completely unexpected. I was actually supposed to be traveling now, but suddenly all my plans this year changed, reinforcing how I am so small in this universe to think I can control such a big percentage of my life. And reminding me that even though there are certain things that usually happen as planned, I did attach to the idea that they happen. And these months of quarantine have been a proof for that. That no, they may not happen. They just may not. And all these quarantine also has been, I feel I'm going through a lot of inner processes. I guess probably all of us, but I can only speak for myself. A lot of inner revolutions are happening within me. I'm listening much more to my truth, to my voice, to what I was rejecting or ignoring, what I was not allowing me to see and to be. And this podcast is also a result of feeds, because the idea of doing a podcast was actually something I really rejected. It was definitely not an option, because I need image. I'm visual. I do video also, and I work with photography, so I'm a very visual person. And having only the audio won't make much sense for me until click. It was really like click. It was just a moment, like some seconds, and then I understood it. I understood this is what I had to do, and then it's like my perspective suddenly shifted, like completely, like from something I was totally not interested in, I was even rejecting, to understanding that I want to do this. In fact, I have already been doing this with my movie, interviewing people and all these sort of things, that resonate so much with me. The difference is, yeah, okay, I have no image, but I I just felt it that I had to do this. So I don't exactly know why, but there is only one way to find out, which is doing it. It's to act and to materialize it. So that's exactly what I'm doing, because I really like to deeply explore people and to go beyond, to dive into the stimulus that drive my curiosity, in a way drive my sense of living, of being in this adventure of constantly learning and using this knowledge and wisdom in order to evolve as a person. So these podcasts, or this project, whatever this is, comes as an integrating part of my project, which aims to improve expression, to improve soul expression in several ways, to give new perspectives, to raise our consciousness, and to heal. This project it's a big part of me. It's basically an extension of myself, of what it means to be myself. It's part of the mission I've chosen for this lifetime. It's my contribution to what is happening around us on this change that we are currently living. This project happens to be an alchemic fusion of techniques, methods, practices, and therapies that have been calling me along the way, from aura readings to body expression, passing through photography and video, has many other tools. And not sharing this, it's actually has, if I was rejecting my own process and all the things I've overcome, not sharing this, even though I've had many resistances in starting to do it, but they were only resistances. It's selfish from me to not share these kind of secrets, these techniques that help me and that can help others. So yeah, I'm, as I said, going out of my own shadow. Basically, I'm addicted to learn from courses, people, situations, challenges. Not simply learn, but to learn what my intuition guides me towards. And I combined all this knowledge into a transformational program focused on expression and human transformation, combining deep inner work and many other things, and have been incredible to see the results on people, as if I was really, I wouldn't say spreading seeds, but watering seeds, as I also was watered by others and I keep watering myself. The calling to work with men has been here for a long time. but I was using all my fears and limiting beliefs to reject it, to put it completely aside. There were so many excuses in my mind, seriously. But the reality is really that I was already being a catalyst for their inner work of some of my male friends and acquaintances that my life has been crossing with. This decision arose quite unexpectedly as well. In a morning in which I woke up and I saw this video of Man-Made Self project, a project that also works with men. And as I was watching it, all these sort of emotions were arising within me. I couldn't deny it any longer. It was so crystal clear that I got sure that there was a deep calling, that it was not just some thoughts passing through my mind some now and then. And I made a decision. I finally said yes to this calling, and since then I've been redirecting my project to focus on men's expression, going against my own ego and aligning with my soul's voice, to my truth that I was ignoring. And magic has been happening. It's like when you really aligned with what is meant to be, like things flow easier. I don't know, there is some sort of, I don't know, some trigger for it, which is, I would say for me, it's mesmerizing. It really fascinates me how the universe finds a way for things to happen when they are meant to. This project is also hugging my own shadow, hugging the rage, the rage I found out in me, which I didn't even knew I had, or I didn't remember. And who knows me knows that I don't harm anything. It took me really a long time to be able to see this rage in me. It's only been some few months, but you know what? I I feel actually very well for having it, because due to my coach, I understood that not only that I had it somewhere in me, but also I understood how useful this rage can be. Like seriously, something I never thought. So I've been using this rage whenever I kind of can find it, and channeling it to creativity and productivity, to act in an efficient way, to materialize my ideas, to clean my room, to organize things, to make things happen. So basically not redirecting it to people, but to all these sort of things. So it's amazing to understand the possibilities that this shadow of mine has when I bring light to it, when I integrate it within myself, because it's part of me. Our shadows are part of us, and it's important to look at them. And it seems that there are ways to use them wisely and in a productive way. So, yeah. So, Diving Man symbolizes also one of my inner revolutions. Basically, a stop in procrastination, of finding excuses, reasons why not, switching my own perspective to the reasons why yes, putting an end to rejecting what I'm called to do, leaving the fears that no longer serve me, and turning into my essence. It's the acceptance of who I am and what I'm here to do. And I hope telling you this in some way encourages you to also do it regarding any aspect or thoughts of your life that you have been having, and maybe it's time to act as well. So here I'm using my voice to create opportunities for men to show theirs, for other humans to show theirs. And As my voice is quite multilingual, I've decided that Diving Man will also be a fusion of languages, inspiring you to hear and learn the diversity of communication codes. But don't worry, because mostly it's gonna be like Portuguese and English. So if you do want to send some bit of Portuguese or Spanish or one of the Latin languages, perhaps you could give it a try to listen the Portuguese ones. Otherwise, you can just stick to the ones in English. And I'll be bringing you human beings of male gender, which I find to be thinking in mesmerizing ways and doing inspiring things. Also, men that have been working on themselves and awakening. And through their voices and personal experiences, they will give voice to what is also my voice, to what my voice also wants to say. And in the last years, I've been the pleasure to meet these men that are working themselves, that are aware, they knowing that they exist, which was something I never possibly imagined before. It gave me hope, and it keeps giving me hope. It's a new way of being. And it showed me that it's happening. It's also happening with them, with men, even though in a more silent way, more into themselves. And for me, it's fascinating to hear what's inside and how has been this process for them and all the things they know. And I have been learning so much from them, directly and indirectly, just from the way they do, from the way they think, they act. It's like they also allow me to be. They inspire me to allow myself to be. Which is, And I will bring some of them here for you to also hear these and have the possibility to have a glimpse of this. But so I'm bringing you their inner worlds, their perspectives, my perspectives, and I hope they inspire you to be who you are and to find out who you are, to dive into your shadows and your lights. And above all, that we can all be ourselves as humans. Not as much as man and woman, but more like the oneness that we are. Because yes, we have differences, but the percentage of similarities is way above our differences. And we all, as humans, are the fusion of both male and female components. And without noticing, without being aware of it, most of us has been rejecting some parts of us and neglecting them, which seems not to be so healthy for us. I hope you enjoyed, that you had a good time listening to me, to understand a bit more of my own inner worlds and everything that comes with it. Stay tuned for what's upcoming in this co-creation journey of diving in man. And also feel completely free to reach me out, to tell me your opinion, to rate the podcast, comment, and especially also to, if you know or if you are a man with an interesting perspective or doing interesting things, with some story worth listening to, I would love to hear it, to explore it, to investigate it, and perhaps you can also be here. So if you know anyone that would be a good fit for these projects, let me know.